Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the instant match reaction. Everton 0, West Ham 1. Everton have... They've been out Everton, let's be honest. West Ham came and did basically what we've been doing to teams over the last few weeks, and they got the 3 points. It was a very David Moyes performance, and on the day, they got the 3 points, and it came down to a late goal, very much like it did against Man United, very much like it did against Leeds. We were very poor, very uninspiring. Players look way off it. And again, listen, I can sit here bemoaning the fact that players are rubbish and all the rest of it, but for me, again, I've got to talk about the schedule. I know West Ham have had less time than us, but I just think our players in the last month have been running through brick walls for us, and I think it showed tonight. And I think what this highlights, and I've said this loads of times, it's about our squad, how poor our squad is. It's absolutely awful. I think what David Moyes done really well tonight, by the way, is he managed his players. They had a plan to bring on Antonio after an hour, and obviously two attacking players with about 15 minutes to go if the game was still in the balance, and they've done it really well. And you look at what we did. Yes, we brought James Rodriguez on, but a very rusty James Rodriguez. Andre Gomez, what does he really offer in the final third? And Cenk Tosun just do you know what I mean? We're bringing Cenk Tosun on for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who really looks like he's out on his feet. He's getting no chances whatsoever. He's dropping deep, trying to make things happen, and it's simply not working. And I think that comes down to the squad. It comes down to the squad. The squad is abysmal. I've said it loads of times. The squad is abysmal. And that's the problem. You look to the bench and there's no one to come on. You're not inspired by any of the players that come on. Players can come on and do okay, but they're not going to change the game. Like when Gomez came on, he did okay, but he didn't change the game. And that's what I'm saying. James Rodriguez went with more games under his belt, and he said a month. He hasn't played for a month, basically. It will catch. I keep on saying this. It will catch up with you. It will catch up with you not having Luca Dean. It will catch up with you not having Allen. It will catch up with you having players who are tired and can't get changed out for other players. It catches up on you. And tonight I felt like it caught up with us massively. Sigurdsson, rubbish. Tom Davis, rubbish. Richarlison, rubbish. Bernard, I know he hasn't played a lot of games, but he was rubbish. Ben Godfrey didn't look anywhere near the player. So it catches up with you, and when you don't have players, these players are not superhuman. They're not at all. And it catches up with you, for some of the players. Don't get me wrong, some of the players were just atrocious. Our two wide men tonight, Bernard, and certainly Bernard I expect less of, but Richarlison was appalling tonight, really appalling. And he was appalling in a way that was like, there was no anger there. He wasn't like in a sulk or anything. He was just appalling. And if you stop the supply to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, then how's he going to score goals? We know Dom isn't someone who's going to pick up the ball outside the box and go on a mazy run. He relies on getting the ball into the box. If you're not getting the ball into the box, he's not going to score goals. And we didn't do that. We didn't have any inspiration tonight at all. West Ham were excellent tonight. They really were. I feel like they deserved the 3 points because their game plan was they came, they defended, they organised, and then the subs meant they went in the last 15 minutes. And I felt like they were going to win it, and we weren't, because we just looked. We're trying to use all the same players, whereas they had a little something coming off the bench. And I think, you look at the Sheffield United game, that we had something. That was the difference in Sheffield United game. We had something coming off the bench, whereas tonight we just didn't have that whatsoever. And again, I put it down to the fact that the squad is abysmal. We've got a big squad, but that doesn't mean it's a good squad. It's a big squad, but it's poor. You know, we lacked, you know, Iwobi being missing as well tonight was a big key as well. I think he opens up teams. And that's what happens in the Premier League. It's so tight that at the moment that you've got to... It feels weird. We just won 4 in a row in the Premier League. And a lot of people are really... I don't know if they're going overboard about tonight, but we were really, really poor. But the same problems we had before this run, 4 games in a row, are the same problems that we've got right now. It is the squad. We need a better squad. We need better players. We need to look to the bench. And I think, like I said before, what West Ham, I'm not saying West Ham have got a better squad than Everton, but maybe they've got more of an even squad. So they've got a couple of centre forwards that he'll put one in for one game and then one out the next game, or he's got a couple of wide men like Bowen and like maybe Yarmolenko on the bench Yarmolenko who can come on and maybe he can swap them. What we have is good players and then crap, and we can't swap Dom for Tosin, and that's what we've got to start doing. And if Richarlison's not playing well, do you drop him and bring on someone else? Well, who's the someone else? Who's the someone else? That's the problem. Maybe if James Rodriguez is back, then you can get Iwobi maybe playing on the left, or you can get Richarlison playing up front, and then you can give Dom a rest. I don't know. Listen, we've got 10 days now, haven't we? More than 10 days till our next Premier League game. We play Rotherham in the FA Cup next Saturday, so there might be a mix of players in that. But who do you mix up? This is the problem. But I keep on seeing the same things. You know, Tom Davies was terrible. Well, fine. What do you want? What do you want in the place? It's the same thing. It's about the squad. I'm seeing people saying Anthony Gordon. Well, Anthony Gordon was rubbish against Sheffield United. So what do you want? Do you know what I mean? It comes down to the squad, and that's where Everton have got to start looking at the situation, going, what do we want to do? Do we need to get rid of a Tosin? Obviously, you know, he's been linked with West Brom. So if we get rid of him, can we bring someone in then? You know, that's what Bernard. If we could get another winger in, like a good winger, like a proper good winger, like Leon Bailey, and get rid of Bernard and get him his wages off our bench, offers, then that would maybe work. Someone's asked me if Pedro like to see Calamuta two up front with a diamond. Well, you probably get the same problems. Who's going to play in the diamond? Because the core is box to box and plays everywhere. So who's going to sit your deepest player? Well, it'd be Alan, wouldn't it? But Alan's not available. So, you know, we need to sell Richarlison. What to who and why? Tell me that. And who out there is, you know, better than Richarlison when he's playing well? It all comes down to me for the squad. It's as simple as that. It comes to the squad for me. If we don't, I don't know if we're looking in January for. We've been, you know, Olsen looks like that could be done, but that's not really. That's just bringing someone in that's on loan. So we've got James Rodriguez back now. Hopefully he'll start the game against Rotherham. Get an hour under his belt. Barcelona, but Richard's going to Barcelona. Barcelona haven't got a penny to the name. They're absolutely skint. They have to sell more players than we have to. I'd said Souček anyway. So if you watch the match previous, someone Souček, he is like their Fellaini stroke Kale. I had a feeling he was gonna score. You know, people saying we'll put Keane back in. Well, Keane was out tonight because he has played every game. This is what we're talking about. All you're doing is moving the deck chairs. That's all you're doing with the same players. It has to come down to getting new players in the team. Listen, we've lost by 1 goal. You know, we haven't been conceding a lot of goals. So it's one of those games you'd have to take it on the chin. We're not very good on New Year's Day. We haven't won at home on New Year's Day since 1990. We haven't won any game on New Year's Day since 2012, I think. So it's one of those days now. It's one of those days where, you know, you've got to lick your wounds, appreciate that the team you've played against have played better than you and have deserved to win the game. That's the way I look at it. Once I've done these videos, I'm not going to give this game a second thought tonight because it was awful. I'm not going to sit here and bemoan the fact that you know, everyone was terrible. Everyone was terrible tonight. Everyone. So it was a bad day at the office. What you got to do is you've got to come back for the next game and be better. And if anything, if we've been taught anything this season, it's that we've had good runs and bad runs. Let's nip this in the bud now. Let's win against Rotherham and then back at it when we play. You know, our next games are tough. We've got the likes of Leeds. We've got the likes of Leicester. We've got the likes of Wolves. Villa. These are tough games. These are games who are teams that are competing around us. And we're still on. We're on 29 points. You know, if we could have grabbed a point tonight, that would have got us to 30 points. I would have been very happy with that. Very happy with that. I hate Christmas football. I think Christmas football is abysmal. I keep on saying this. The quality of football is abysmal, and it normally ends up getting won by a goal like that. And it's just so happens that West Ham grabbed it tonight. So players have got till next Saturday now. Maybe they'll have a few days off. I know there's this thing that we've had like time off because of the City game, but in terms of training and stuff, we would have been preparing for the City game, and then we wouldn't have stopped because we would have been preparing for it. So let's hope the players are firing next week, and we're you know, the next 3 games are really, really important because those 3 games for me are gonna. No, they're not. They're gonna. You know, that comes to the halfway point of the season then, and you're looking at thinking, right, what are we challenging for this season? Are we genuine top 4 contenders, or are we genuine Europa League contenders? Well, I feel like right now we're genuine Europa League contenders, definitely. But like someone just said, and this thing about we're fresh because West Ham played away is a load of bull. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter whether you think we should have been fresher tonight or not. We weren't, because simple as that. And West Ham changed players out for the game against Southampton, and they used their bench a lot better than we did tonight, and they deserve to win the game. And that's it. We need players. Let us look at this game and go, we were abysmal tonight, but let's not go overboard about it, because we've got to get away from that. We know who needs replacing in the squad. They're the same players that needed replacing after the Sheffield United game are the same players that need replacing tonight. Let's not kid ourselves. We know what we need. We need a new right back. We need a new centre midfielder, deep defensive centre midfielder. We need another striker, and we need another winger. Nothing changes when you win 4 games in a row. You still need those players. Simple as that. So it's a lesson. We've had these already. We've lost, you know, again, an empty Goodison as well. I felt straight away when the game kicked off, like the game place felt a bit soulless. So this is the way it is. This is the way it is. We got beat. Fair play to West Ham. Deserve to win that game tonight and move on to the next game. There you go. Right, make sure to stick around the next 10 minutes or so for my player ratings. They'll be out. Make sure to check out Baz's instant match reaction. He's very angry. I've just looked at my phone and he's very, very angry. He might have a completely different take on this game than I do. Make sure you watch his videos. Yeah. And if you want to join us on Patreon for the final word live, probably just leave it till Monday now. No real reason to do it beforehand because it'd just be angry. Join us on Patreon. The link is in the description. Get yourself, you're not on Patreon, join for the year. It's amazing. It's amazing value. Join for the year. No hassle then. Once you're on, and you'll want to stay on. Thanks for watching. See you later.